Well, hello there everyone, my name is Amy, this is the Opinionated Woman, and welcome to Crafty Reads, the series where I craft something, which is what the last 5 books that I've read. Like last episode, I'm working on the summer top that I'm making out of this Paintbox DK cotton. I'm just starting the last sleeve, very sadly. I'm not going to have enough yarn for this, so I'm going to have to go to work tomorrow and compare this yarn to what we've got in the shop. See if I can find anything that will work, and if not, my mom's gonna have to bring me a ball of it in April, which will suck. But yeah, I was just shy on the amount of yarn that I needed, which is so frustrating because I had to make a bigger size than I anticipated. But oh well, let's see how far we can get on the sleeve and talk about these books. 3 of these books were actually in a reading vlog that I uploaded last week. So if you want to see more detail about that, as well as my trip to Pretoria and my stay at a mental health facility, you can go and get more detail about that. But I'm just going to run through them quickly here. So the first one is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I love this author. I have loved every single thing that she's written, and I've wanted to read this since it came out, but I just haven't got my hands on it, and now I finally got it, which is really nice because it's fucking beautiful. This book is stunning. Also, look. Wow, pretty. Anyway, the story is following Imoni, and she is a teen mom who loves food and is brought up by her grandmother. So she's still in high school. So she's balancing high school, being a mom, and then trying to follow her passion into a career that she wants in food. And there's also this boy that is new to the school that is part of her cooking class, who she has a little bit of a romance with, which is really cute. It's YA. But Imoni is really gifted at cooking, and the descriptions of food in this book are so stunning. They're so delicious. And she's really like sort of battling the, like, can I become a chef and be a good mother to my child? Should I just like not go to university or to college or anything like that, so that I can get a job and like just be baby girl, which is what she calls her mom, and support her. But she joins this cooking class that they start offering at the school, and then she and at the end of the semester they are going to go to Spain for a trip, and the chef puts her in charge of raising funds for the Spanish trip. And yes, we get to see her exploring food, learning more, having to learn that you need to learn the basics first before you start to do interpretations of your own dishes, which is like something that her and her teacher butt heads about. But yeah, it's beautifully written. The characters are so wonderful. The representation is great. Elizabeth Acevedo is a Latina Black author. And it's just full of like food culture and like all of these different influences that she has from her Costa Rican father, and the Spanish food that she gets taught while she's on the trip. And it's just wonderful. It's got so much heart. The characters are so well done. She's just, Elizabeth Acevedo is a queen. Then I read The Broposal by Sonora Reyes. So this is about 2 best friends and roommates, Han and Kenny. And Han is undocumented and very badly needs a green card. And Kenny has just broken up with his horribly toxic ex-girlfriend. And they decide, like, why not let us get married? We're best friends anyway. It's not like a romantic thing. We'll convince our families that this is the real deal, and we'll get you a green card. So they plan this like big over-the-top public proposal, and they get engaged. So it's fake dating, which is a really cute it's a really cute premise. But at the same time, they're both like fighting their feelings for one another, because like to be in front of their family and friends, they're like kissing, they're being affectionate with one another, and they're completely fighting the real feelings that they actually, like the romantic feelings that they have for one another. And no one in their family is surprised that they're engaged. Everyone was like, well, it's so obvious that you two have been in love this whole time. And they're looking at each other like, have we? And like, yeah, everybody knows you have. And yeah, we start to see them falling in love. It's really cute. I really enjoyed it. And there's some spice in this book, just a little bit. And I hadn't read Sonora Reyes writing spice before, because the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School was YA. But the spice in this is so freaking well written. Like, some of the times I skim over scenes like that because they're so cringy in some romances. This was written so freaking well. It was like, whoo, hot diggity dog. Like, this is very, very sexy. So yeah, that's a talent that they have, that I didn't realize they had. And yeah, I highly, highly enjoyed this one. Then I read White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. I'm sorry, I don't have the dust jacket for this. It came from a secondhand bookstore. So I'll put the cover over it here. So White Smoke is a YA thriller, like ghosty kind of story. And we're following Mary, who her family and her, so her mom, her brother, her stepfather, and her stepfather's daughter have all moved to this new neighborhood, into this house that her mother has been given as part of like a grant for her to write this book. So they move into this neighborhood, and like they're very kind of shocked. Like, there's lots of renovations going on in their house, and the neighbors tell them that like there's been so many different contractors that have gone through, that they've gone through to get this house done, because they just keep on leaving because weird shit keeps happening. And they're told not to go down into the basement. And the neighborhood that they're living in is very abandoned, and they're not quite sure why. And so Imoni is a bit like, she's gone through a lot. She is very dependent on marijuana, and she, after an injury, got an addiction to Percocets. So her mother feels that like taking her away from her previous life where they used to live is going to give her the opportunity to like have a fresh start. But because of this instability that she had, people don't believe her when she starts telling them that some weird shit is happening in the house. Stuff is moving. She's seen people in her house. She's seen people in her bedroom when she wakes up. Like, her and her brother sort of band together to try and track down some kind of evidence as to what's happening in this house. But there's also something that I forgot to talk about in the blog, because I did read this entire book while I was in the mental health facility, is that it's also about gentrification. Like, this whole area is getting gentrified, and then the people of color actually getting kicked out, and they're trying to like jazz up an area that used to be for families and people of color and people with less financial means. And yeah, slowly but surely this town is like getting taken over, and it's very ominous. It ends in a very cool way. Like, I didn't expect it. I didn't actually know what to expect from how this was going to turn out, whether it was going to be paranormal, whether it's going to be explainable. But I really love it. Tiffany D. Jackson is wonderful. And yeah, I enjoyed this one. Then I read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I've been told that this book is good for people who aren't very much into sci-fi, but just want to read about a group of really great characters. And I think it is that. Like, personally, I'm not going to carry on the series because there is a little bit too much like spacey stuff to like keep me engaged. But the actual characters we meet are really lovely, and it's really wholesome. So we're following Rosemary, who has just got a job on a ship called the Wayfarer that does different trips and like jobs across the galaxy. And she's going to be a clerk for the captain of this ship. And she gets onto the ship and she meets a whole bunch of different characters. Some of them are human, some of them are a different kind of alien species, and they go on adventures together. They go and they go to each other's home planets. They meet a bunch of different people from that are like different alien species. They come across some troubling. They come across some trouble, which they have to fight through together. And it's really sweet and wholesome, and it's very emotional. And I thought it was really, really lovely. It's just like a little bit out of my comfort zone, which is kind of nice to read every now and again, to read something, or not every now and again, but like a little bit more often, to read something that's out of my comfort zone, because sci-fi is like something set in space is like not usually for me, but the characters in this are so sweet. And I had to look up some fan art for what the different creatures look like, because I couldn't imagine them myself, which is one of the things that I did struggle with. But as a book on its own, really sweet one. And the last one is the Rehearsal by Eleanor Catton. Now, I had heard of this author because of her book Burnham Wood, but I haven't managed to get my hands on that book yet. So when I saw this at the charity store, I was like, okay, let me give Eleanor Catton's writing a go. And oh my God, do I love this woman's writing. Like, let me actually just read you, because I started reading this in the park on a bench with my sibling at the dog park, and I read them this line. So we're following this saxophone teacher that's never mentioned, and because this book is told in two sections. So this is what the saxophone teacher is saying. The clarinet is the tadpole to the sax. Can you see that? The clarinet is a black and silver sperm, and if you love this sperm very much, it will one day grow into a saxophone. And she also says, I require of all my students, the saxophone teacher continues, that they are downy and pubescent, pimpled with sullen mistrust and boiling away with private fury and ardor and uncertainty and gloom. So like, her writing is really rich and descriptive and so unique. It's very hard to describe if you haven't actually encountered her writing before. But like, just from her quality of her writing alone, I will be picking up multiple books that Eleanor Catton has written. I'm not sure how many she's written, but I'm going to read them. So we're following the pupils of the saxophone teacher, and one of the pupils, her sister, is also in the band at school, and it turns out that she has been groomed and sexually molested by the music teacher at her school. And I think everyone around her is very confused by how to take this. The young girls don't really understand the gravity of having a teen student having an affair with a teacher, and how that is, statutory rape. It doesn't matter whether she seemed to have wanted it or not. This is not something that should happen, but we're getting told the story through the eyes of these young children and the saxophone teacher that gets little bits of gossip from them whenever they come for a class. And the main girl's sister, Isolde, is kind of a little bit put out that her sister's taking up all of the interest of people, and it's like a complicated sort of view of this, seeing it through the eyes of like these students. And then the other half of the story is told from a drama institute that's right next to where the saxophone teacher lives, and we're following a actor whose name I can't remember. Stanley. So Stanley is part of this drama school, and they are tasked with putting on a show that's like, the teachers have no involvement in it. The first years just have to do this entire production from start to finish all by themselves, and they decide to base it on a story that they have seen in the newspapers, which is the story of his old sister and this music teacher. And little does he know that he has actually been talking to and interacting with Isolde this whole time, not knowing that this is her sister that this happened to. And she brings her parents to the show. And they are none the wiser that this entire production is going to be around this traumatic thing that happened to their daughter. And I just thought it was really well done. It was really interestingly executed. The way that the two sort of storylines sort of blend together was really well done. There's a lot of tension in here, and like I said, her writing is just it's so freaking good, and it's so amusing. Like, she just tells a story in a very unusual way, and it doesn't get too heavy, even though the topic is very heavy. But I had a whale of a time. And that is all. Oh, the pile's gonna fall. That is all of the books that I've read recently, the 5 books that I've read recently. I hope you enjoyed that. I have done hardly any of the sleep. I've been yapping, but yeah, I obviously need to go get more of this yarn, because oh no. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to see more from me, my TikTok and my Instagram are down below, along with my Shopify to buy any of my crochet creations. Hopefully by the time you see this, I would have fixed the payment methods, but if the payment methods are not working for you, send me a DM. I'll sort you out. Yeah, DM me where you can sort something out. Don't stress about it. I would love to give you some of my crochet creations. I'd love to have you purchase some of my crochet creations. My Instagram, my TikTok are down below, along with my Kofi link, which is a one-time tip jar if you want to support my channel. But other than that, like, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, and I'll check you next time.